who in her leanness seemed full of all wants, which many a land hath made disconsolate, ere now she with such fear o'erwhelmed me, that the sight of her appalled me, that at the height of all hope I lost, I became one who sees the time when he inwardly mourns with heart-gripping anguish. Thus was I haunted by that fell beast, never at peace, who coming against me by degrees impelled me to where the sun in silence rests. Dante, the Inferno. Hellhound. I'll tell you this from the beginning, Stacy. It's the only way I can expect you to make sense of it at all. When I finish, you'll think me mad, but that doesn't matter, for the proof of what I say shall be with us soon enough. Be patient then and hear me out, Stacy. I need to tell it desperately, and I need, more desperately still, an answer to all you will hear. It begins 1 year ago this month. As you know from my letters, I divorced Edie last May, and she went to live with her parents in Maine. I kept the big house by the ocean thanks to a clever lawyer. Though I was to find too soon who got the better of the bargain. Alone there, the house became an enormous tomb. I fell into a reclusive existence, living off the settlement, walking among the empty halls in a drunken stupor by night, sprawled in semi-delirium on the couch by day. I ate, breathed, but I was dead, hurt beyond endurance by what Edie had done to me, loving her, hating her. Then, one evening during a violent thunderstorm, I heard the sound that was to chill my heart and burn into my brain for the rest of my days. Aroo! It had all the markings of a she-wolf, but since the likelihood of finding such a creature in Southern California was remote indeed, I decided it could only have been some strange breed of dog. Her fur was matted and torn, her paws cut and bleeding. Her breath came in ragged whimpers. She looked as though she'd climbed up from the pit of hell to get to my house. Ring, ring.
Jonathan?
Yes?
This is Margaret, Edie's mother. I'm afraid there's been a terrible accident.
Edie was dead. No one was sure exactly how it had happened. She had been on a camping trip with friends. They found her one morning in her tent, ripped to shreds. There was barely enough left to establish identification. A bear? A mountain lion? I bandaged the animal's paws and left some milk in a bowl beside it, then fell into exhausted slumber. When I awoke the next morning, to my amazement, she was bounding around the living room like a puppy. She seemed fit as a fiddle, though the milk had not been touched. I named her Gina and decided to adopt her. For the first time in months, the huge house seemed bright and alive. Despite the tragic news about Edie, I found myself drinking less, actually cleaning the place up and taking stock of myself. Gina and I would go for long walks along the beach. Though I bought the finest lean meat for her, she refused to eat anything I brought into the house. Occasionally during our walks she would slip quietly into the woods. Having lived her life as a wild creature, it was there, I assumed, she obtained her food. At home I took a renewed interest in life and actually began working at my novel again. Gina would sit contentedly by my side, asking for nothing more than a scratch behind the ear now and then. One day I went into town for groceries and decided to save for a movie. Gina I let roam free while in the theater. Afterwards she sat patiently outside a tavern while I had a quick beer. I didn't realize anyone was beside me until she spoke. "Excuse me, do you have a light?" "Huh? Oh, sure." "Well, well, and who are we picking up tonight, Lila, my love?"
"Let go of me."
"You've philandered enough for one night, don't you think?" "Hey, wait, she was only asking for a light." "When I want any crap out of you, Sonny, I'll squeeze your head."
"You monster."
"Okay, Hotshot, that does it. Just move to the door quietly. The broken bottles will be on your bill." "You really don't have to drive me home, Lila. It's the least I can do after what that big gorilla did to you. And in case you're wondering, we're not married. I only dated him a couple of times. Creep thinks he owns me." "Here we are." "Hey, what's that in the driveway?" "Oh my God. But who could have done it, Jonathan? I mean, I know the guy must have had enemies, but the way he was chewed up, like he was attacked by a madman or an animal?" "Yeah, here, have another drink, Lila."
Why do you keep staring out that door? Are you expecting someone? Huh? Oh, no. Come on, we better get his body in the car and find a place to bury it.
Bury it? Aren't you going to phone the police?
Look, Lila, I can't afford to get involved with the police right now. I owe some money. Besides, nobody will miss that creep anyway. You said yourself he had no friends. This is crazy, Jonathan. I still think we should have... Now, let me handle it. Go on up to your apartment and get a good night's rest. I'll phone you in the morning. I should have known then what was happening, but it all seemed too incredible at that point. I drifted along with it, almost as if my part in this little drama of terror had been rehearsed. Lila phoned the next morning. Jonathan, I didn't sleep all night. We must tell the police. If you don't help me, I'll do it myself. Lila, I can't let you do that. I told you, I can't afford to have the police coming around right now. Look, stay put. I'll be right over. Gina, where are you, girl? Lila? Are you in there? It's me. Lord. A convulsive fear rocked my body as I stood there gazing at Lila's mutilated remains. All I could think of was getting in my car and driving as far from Baja as I could. I dumped a few clothes and valuables into a suitcase and headed east, stopping only long enough to phone my lawyer and start procedures to sell the house. I drove all day and all night, feeling the fingers of fear slip away with the miles. I fell into the lumpy mattress and slept the sleep of the dead. Toward morning I was awakened by a soft, plaintive scratching at the door. I don't know why I brought her in and administered to her paws once more. Perhaps it was because I had no tangible proof of what I had suspected with such terrible dread, or perhaps it was because I really had no choice. We headed for the Midwest the next day. I had no idea where I was going, or why I was going there. Only Gina seemed interested at all in the Russian countryside. Near evening we reached a lone gas station in Colorado. Can you tell me where the nearest motel is, please? Motel? Well, there's the Holiday Inn, about 2 miles down the road just outside of Belton. Belton? My hometown. I hadn't been there in years. With a smile of anticipation, I headed for the north side of town and my parents' house. What a surprise would this be? Even Gina seemed excited. I pulled in front of the dark frame house and cut the engine. A sudden chill snaked up my spine. I hadn't driven to my parents' house at all. This place was alien to me. Almost mechanically, as if directed by some unseen force, my hand reached out and opened the car door. Gina leapt to the pavement and padded up the walk toward an open window. With hypnotic eyes, I read the name on the mailbox. Tommy Baxter, my old football rival from high school. I had all but forgotten him over the years. Yet buried deep within my psyche, his bitter memories swam up to me. Baxter had not only won a football trophy I had deserved, but had stolen my girl as well. I sat trembling in the awful darkness, both from my reborn hatred of Baxter and some unknown dread that would not let go of me. Then I heard the terrible screams from within the house. I put the car in gear and shot away from the curb in horror. I don't even remember finding the motel or falling asleep there. I only know that when I opened my eyes, sunlight was streaming into them from the open window. The TV I had left on was blaring the headlines of Baxter's death, and I was not alone in the room. I sat stiffly, staring at Gina's soft brown eyes, and I shook as if in a fever. There could be no doubt now, no doubt at all. Yet quietly, almost calmly, I dressed and paid for my room. I understood it all then as I drove away leisurely. They would die. All of them. All of the men and women and boys and girls I had ever known whose relationship with me had taken some bitter turn. No more would they haunt my mind like mocking phantoms. No more would my tortured brain replay their acts of hostility and aggression. Bobby Colton, who'd beat me up in grade school. The English professor who'd flunked me in college. The woman in Detroit who refused to rent me a room when I was broke. The smart-aleck traffic cop in Los Angeles. They were all on the list. An execution list I was carrying out with deliberate abandon, and there was nothing I could do, nothing I wanted to do to alter the course of their fate. That is my story, Stacy, and that is why I have come. Remember the bad check you gave me 15 years ago? I got into a lot of trouble for that check. But please understand, I don't wish you any harm personally. I may have hated you once, but not anymore. I came here ahead of her because I wanted you to know that. It's gone beyond my power to directly intervene. I don't know who Gina is or where she comes from, but I have my theories. Ancient volumes speak of demons familiars, creatures from the nether regions, who do their master's grisly bidding. It is said that if the demon dies, the familiar sinks out a new master. Rubbish, folklore, perhaps, but I have no other explanation. Forgive me, Stacy, but I can do nothing to help you.
Rawr!
My own companion, Brutus, came to me 5 years ago on the heels of a tornado that wiped out 6 families in this area of the country, all of them members of rival business firms.
Brutus has never left my side.
Sit back, Hamlin, and have another drink. It's been ages since I've had a lengthy conversation with an old enemy. Neither of us may get the chance again. And darkness and famine shall cover the land, and the beasts shall hold reign over the earth. The end.